and the greatest guests on the air. It's 43 degrees now, 8:09, and with me on the phone this time is Andrew O'Grady from Mental Health America of Dutchess County. Good morning. How are you, Andrew?
Hi, Kate. How are you? I love your station. The music is that's right in my era, the 80s. I like it a lot.
Thank you. We do play great stuff, and it has me singing along like every third song. I'm bellowing in the studio. It's a good thing the microphone has an off switch. But anyway, it's so nice to have you here today. I know you usually come in person, but we appreciate when you can make the drive. But you're here anyway, even though you weren't able to come in person.
Yeah, long drive, but that's okay. I'm there in spirit.
Yes,
I can see you. Imagine bringing donuts in and just hanging out at the studio. It's kind of nice. Next time for sure.
Donuts and flowers this man brings. The flowers were part of your fundraiser, the Anemone Sale. I practiced saying that. and
yeah, we did really well.
You sold out?
It was a good sale. Sold out. And, raising money like that helps us think outside the box and try to develop and pilot new programs that, may be effective or not when we're met with new challenges like the opioid crisis, which is not necessarily new, but, it takes some time for programs to be developed to address these issues. And if we could think of something new that we want to try that's not funded, we do that. And we use the funding that we get from sales, like our wreath sale, an enemy sale, or a gala event. We don't have too many, but we have events that help us raise money for these types of programs.
Yes, and every time I looked at those anemones, they're so bright, colorful, and so pretty, it cheered me up, which is another side effect that you're trying to help people do. It was wonderful. Even though
that's for sure.
My cats have kind of gotten into them. So that part, they don't look quite as crisp as they did on day one. But
they're beautiful. We get them from Battenfeld's florist in Rhinebeck, and I believe they have them year round. So they're a great flower. I'm not a botanist or anything, but they're a great flower. They're interesting. You get them, and they look like they're
they look like they're
wilted and gone and dead, and all of a sudden you put them in water, and they're just amazing.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Well, that happens with people, too. You could have somebody who looks like they're down and out and they're just about done. And then if things go right, you can bring them back. I mean, it's not like you're a miracle worker, but there is sometimes when you can find what the person needs. And that's the whole point of your organization is to combat mental illness, because there are so many different causes. There are situational causes, there's brain imbalances, there's so many things that could go wrong, but you do your best to help people start to go right, to go better.
We do our very best here, but we're formalized, and that message that you're giving there is so true, and it's really just for everybody. I mean, it doesn't take much to just make somebody feel seen, appreciated, saying hello, opening the door for somebody, giving somebody a smile. Sometimes that's all it takes. And if you really want to go a little deeper, having conversations with people, asking them how they're doing, and meaning it. Don't just say, how you doing? And then just, meaning it, having a conversation when they, disclose that they're not doing very well. There's classes called Mental Health First Aid. We might have talked about this before, and you can check our website to see when some classes are, or just Google Mental Health First Aid in your area. They're popping up all over the place. It's very similar to the first aid classes we took as kids, or CPR. It's a 5-hour class. It's long, but people leave there feeling like they have. They're not trained therapists at this point, but they're feeling like they have the competency to have a discussion with somebody and not feel ill-equipped or afraid of saying something wrong. It's kind of a good thing for everybody to take. We all need to be better with each other, and that's part of the stigma around mental health, is that people don't even know how to discuss it.
That's true. That's true. Where do you start if you're afraid that someone has a problem, or you could tell that they have a problem, but you're not really sure how to handle it and how to help them, or even how to begin the conversation? and the mental health first aid training helps with that. I don't think we've talked about it before. I was not
maybe we
familiar with
haven't.
it.
It does help with that a great deal. And people walk out of there feeling like they can have a conversation. And, there's other classes like that, too. NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness, which is not part of MHA, but they're all over the place. And we collaborate with NAMI when they hold their family-to-family classes. Family-to-family classes are for parents or siblings of somebody who has a serious mental health issue that's a chronic disease and hard to treat. And, that is so overwhelming on family members. I'm sure there are some people listening that can relate completely to this. Others can't, but many people have somebody in their family that they wish they could help. And the reality is sometimes a person has to help themselves as well, and they're not ready to, and it can be overwhelming and frustrating for the whole family. And these family-to-family classes through NAMI really bring, the 14 couples, parents together or siblings over a course of, 7 weeks, an hour each in the evening. And they really learn about the resources in the community. They learn about how to best talk to their loved ones. The people that run the class are people that have children or have had children who struggled, and they teach how to just better communicate with that individual, because we all get into ruts, whether there's a mental illness there or not. We all get into ruts, and we seem to have the same circular pattern of communication with the people we are most love and are closest to, and sometimes that circle doesn't really work. That circle is just keeping everybody stagnant, and you got to try something new, and this teaches that.
That's a good point, because if every time your loved one does this one thing, if every time you just react by yelling at them the same words practically every time, if it hasn't worked before, why would you do it again? It doesn't work. Well, it's your instinct. And until you stop and think about it, you're going to operate on instinct. And training like this, the mental health first aid, this would be great to get you going in a better direction.
Yeah, think about it as an investment in yourself and an investment in your family. And it's not an investment into the community. And it's not, when I say investment, it's not a financial cost of these. These are free services. It's just an investment of time, but it makes you a lot more effective and efficient. And you could save a life or help somebody in your life.
Yes. And as it says in your commercials on the radio and also on the homepage of your website, all of the support, none of the stigma. We are here to serve our clients. That's such a simple statement, but it's a really big one. And speaking of your website, we should tell people what it is, MHADutchess.org. That's pretty easy to remember, I think, MHADutchess.org. And I know you wanted to talk about...
All your listeners are in this area, so I don't have to spell Dutchess. But when you're outside of this area, people forget the T sometimes.
That's right. We have our own personalized spelling of the word Dutchess, because usually it doesn't have the T, yes. I want to hear about what you're doing for veterans, but we have to take a quick break first. We will be right back with more from Andrew O'Grady from Mental Health America of Dutchess County on Wall Radio. It's 8:20 at Wall Radio, 43 degrees, and on the phone with me from Mental Health America of Dutchess County is Andrew O'Grady. He talks with us from time to time about different things about mental health, about helping a member of your family if someone is in need, or a lot we talk about veterans. And I know you've got some new things to talk about, Andrew.
Yeah, we just opened. I mean, we opened about 3 months ago, but like many places, you don't have your grand opening or your ribbon cutting until now you feel like you have the thing settled in and worked out. And
That's right.
We opened we officially opened our Veterans One Stop in Pleasant Valley, which is a very large building that we are able to put all of our veteran services in. One location. Then we brought in tenants. Dutchess County brought their veteran services to our location. The VA is allowing us and retrofitting us with 2 telehealth offices. So while they won't be there, someone has a telehealth appointment with the veterans, with the VA, they could go into these rooms and be, with our veterans. And when I say with our veterans, we only hire veterans, and we like to hire veterans who have struggled a little bit with returning back to the community after serving, and they end up having a purpose, and they continue to help veterans, and it helps them to help other people. And we also have a couple of other veteran services that are in our building. We have the Veterans Sportsman Club in Dutchess County, and we have the Veteran Sportsman Clubs and the Hudson Valley Veterans Alliance. Hudson Valley Veterans Alliance is an organization that brings together veterans who have skill sets around household and building construction, and they help other veterans who perhaps need a ramp built or need a new roof or are struggling with things like that. They reach out to them, Hudson Valley Veterans Alliance, and they can pull a bunch of people, similar to like Rebuilding Together or Habitat for Humanity.
Sure.
They can pull together their veterans and get in there and help other veterans out for a very small price compared to what it would cost to have a contractor come in.
Wow. That's wonderful. And you have always had services for veterans. You have always worked with them, and I know that you like to hire veterans to work with them, so that it's someone who says, I was in a bad place too, and here's what helped me get out of it, and here's how I can help you. But now you have everything in one location. That's got to be a great benefit for you and for the veterans that you're serving.
Our traffic for people that have come to our office, the county's traffic for people who have come to their office has tripled since we opened this location. So
Wow.
People appreciate the one-stop location. It's centrally located in Dutchess County.
Yeah.
It's right in the middle of a map, right in the middle of Dutchess County at 1335 Route 44 in Pleasant Valley. You can call 845-473-2500 and ask for our veteran services, or you could just stop in at 1335 Route 44. And it doesn't have to be that you live in Dutchess County, and we serve Dutchess County residents, but if someone from Orange County or Ulster County came by and, came into our office and explained their situation, that's the whole thing about this place, is that while we have a scope of services that we're supposed to provide within the contracts we have, we go outside of that all the time and above and beyond that. So if you come in with literally any issue, my cousin, I'm worried about him, he lives here, and he was in the military, and he has PTSD, and he's isolated, and he's drinking too much, and he's not coming out of the house, we will then take that information and go to that person's house and engage with that person. And to your point, if I knocked on the door, I was not in the military. If I knocked on the door and said, "Hi, I'm Andrew, I'm a social worker, I'd love to sit and chat," they may not let me in, rightfully so. We'd be really pissed off that, that somebody asked me to come to the house. And I get it. But when they knock on the door and say that they had this rank and this tour and served in this branch of the military, all of a sudden, and it's never been the case where it hasn't happened, all of a sudden they have no problem opening the door and having a conversation with that individual. They're not a psychiatrist, they're not a social worker, they're not a therapist, there's no stigma attached to it. It's just another veteran who can relate. And all of a sudden, their world opens up in a best-case scenario, but frankly, it happens all the time. We have a conversation, we invite them to an event, we have social events, then we have the family come, they start meeting other veterans, their world opens up, they're not staying in their house as much, they're not drinking as much, and things can drastically change. And that's all they need, is to know there's a world out there that understands them, because they think nobody does.
Yes. And you help people one at a time. You don't just say, "Oh, well, we're going to give pills to everybody that needs that." No, they need time, they need attention of a certain sort. And
there's no pills with us. We might make referrals if we think it could be helpful, but that's up to the individual to follow through. Mm-hmm. But we're there for them, and we're going to find out what they would accept and what they won't accept, and we're going to find them what might help them, feel less isolated.
Every single person you deal with is a puzzle, and you have to figure out how to open up each puzzle, and that would be. I probably at times it's frustrating, but at other times it must be tremendously rewarding.
Absolutely. I mean, it is frustrating at times. for sure. But I think that's why people at this agency and other behavioral health agencies and not-for-profits keep coming to work. The pay is not the greatest in the world. I mean, let's be honest. It's hard to even, live nowadays with all this inflation and people getting paid what they get paid. And I wish I could pay everybody a lot more, but we're kind of beholden to what these contracts do and say.
Course.
But they come back to work every single day and do this work because you do go to bed at night feeling like you really made a difference in somebody's life. And that's what we're really all here for. I mean,
that's right.
If we can make a positive difference in somebody's life, then we've done a good thing.
Now, you do need funding to continue operations, and I don't want to forget to mention you will be participating in HV Gives this year, correct?
We will be participating in HV Gives. So if you go on HV Gives this year when the time comes, please consider MHA of Dutchess County, Mental Health America of Dutchess County. We would appreciate any donation we get, and I can promise you it doesn't go to waste. I mean, we put it right back into services to help people in our communities.
HV Gives is 2 weeks from today, May 17th. It's all day that day. We'll be asking people to donate locally to the nonprofit organizations that do so much good work right here in the Hudson Valley. And they can look up organizations like yours at hvgives.org, and we'll start asking people for their money, like I said, at midnight. And then we'll keep it up 24 hours on that day, on the 17th. And if people do donate to you, their money would go all the way to you, but it might also be matched by matching grants on that day on May 17th. So you wouldn't turn down a donation right now, but HV Gives is a great time and day to do it. So make those plans maybe for 2 weeks from today.
Thank you for highlighting that. I appreciate that.
Sure. It's always a pleasure to have you on the air, Andrew. Thank you very much. Next time you have flowers or anything, you don't even have to bring donuts when you stop by, although you have very good taste in the ones you chose, as I recall. Thank you so much.
I will see you soon, I hope.
I hope so, too. Thanks for coming on the air today to tell everybody about, one more time, the website, MHADutchess.org, and all the wonderful work that you are so devoted to doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate.
All right. We'll talk to you next time. Wall Radio, here we are at 8:29. Is that a pretty good time to do a news update? Yes, I believe it is. We'll start with CBS.